Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Jnana Niranjandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurudhanena Kasajidharena Chaitanya Vishnam
Sambhimam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Bharati Swadhamaya.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura
Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be present at this new location of ISKCON Brampton. I came to the old center. What street was it? George Street? Yeah, that's the name. Old center, which was on George Street. I understand the landlord initially was nice to us. He gave us the facility at a moderate rent, right? But then he realized he could get more.
Yeah.
So he started telling us to look for a place elsewhere. So he'd come to see me in the Avenue Road Temple 2 years ago. And he was connected to ISKCON for quite some time. So he was also ready to help us look for a place because he wanted us to get out. Anyway, Krishna has a hand everywhere, so if he would not have been pushing for us to get out, we may not have searched so intensively. Anyway, we were searching, and the devotee brought me to, I think in this block, we saw 3 facilities. This one was locked, and there was one or two others. We went inside one office. So we're very glad that the devotees worked hard and purchased this building. One good thing in North America is you can always purchase property on mortgage. You can do that in India also, but it's not so easy in India. So I'm glad that the Brampton devotees worked hard and they gave us 25% down.
Yes.
They gave some payment down, and one thing is we should not think the building is paid up. I think we still have quite a bit to pay. Nevertheless, as a co-Jewish in Canada, I want to congratulate the local team for having obtained this building. In this part of the world, it's always better to have your own facility. And we hope that gradually you're able to pay it off. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the holy name to be chanted in every town and village of the world. So we hope that this facility will be used not only to preach to the Indians, but also we should devise some plan to preach to the Canadians. Is that right? We are slowly an international society. But that will require a little bit of a challenge. Yeah? How to preach to the Canadians. So we can make this center truly international. I was going to read a verse from the Bhagavatam. It's Canto 4, Chapter 13, Text 8. I'm sure many of you have the Bhagavatam in your smartphone. The translation is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear sons of the King, I am very much pleased with the friendly relationship among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship and I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me. Want you to repeat after me? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear sons of the King, I am very much pleased with the friendly relationship among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship, and I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Since the sons of King Krishna Parishad were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of King Krishna Parishad was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is really unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In the United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions, and consequently, they cannot be united. This unity between individual souls is so strong within the material world that even in the society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions leading towards material things. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two options. There is only one goal, to serve Krishna to one's ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all benediction to his devotees, as indicated in this verse. We can see the Lord immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Krishna Parishad. So, this is a verse from the 4th canto. Can you hear me clearly? 4th canto, 38th chapter. The Prachetas were the sons of whom? King Krishna Parishad. And they had performed great austerities, and as a result of their austerities, Lord Shiva gave them a mantra that glorifies the Supreme Lord. Sometimes we think, all gods are one, but the Vedas say, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anandana Govinda, Sarvaprana Prana. There are many Ishvaras, but there is one Supreme Lord. So, Lord Shiva recognizes Krishna as the Supreme. Lord Brahma recognizes Krishna as the Supreme. Or Indra recognizes Krishna as the Supreme. So Lord Shiva gave them a mantra. And the mantra was glorifying Krishna. And the Lord is saying, I am very pleased by all you Prachetas. There were many brothers. Why was the Lord pleased with all of them? Because they all were united What were they united in? In devotional service. And the Lord said, I'm very pleased by all of you. You can ask me for any benediction you want. So that is very important. This international site of Krishna consciousness has branches all over the world. People from different backgrounds come in. Some people are from Indian background, some from Russian background, some from African background, some from Arabic background. Virtually every community of the world is represented in ISKCON. Prabhupada used to say, we are the real United Nations. You have a United Nations in New York, which is more of a rubber stamp for rich countries. But even though they call it United Nations, Prabhupada used to say, it's this United Nations. Even within one nation there is no unity. If you go to America today, you see America so polarized that there has never been in history so polarized. Some are pro-Trump and some are anti-Trump. So, in a mature world, you can never have a real unity. The Lord was very pleased because all the projected brothers had one goal in life. What was that? So that should be the principle for every devotee, to engage in devotional service. And if we engage in devotional service, then we will always be united. Prabhupada used to say, God belongs to one party, Krishna's party. So, that is important. We never lose sight of what a real vision is. And then there will be unity. Of course, sometimes there may be different viewpoints. Someone will think, this should be the better route. Someone will say, this is a better procedure. But as long as the ultimate focus is to please Krishna, you will be successful. So, devotional service means what? Engaging in activities to please Krishna. That is our standard. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining to Sanatana Goswami the process of devotional service. Sanatana and his brother Rupa were one time serving a Mohammedan ruler, but they both gradually withdrew. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Sanatana Goswami some very important instructions on which he elaborated and wrote many books on devotional service. So Sanatana Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining to Sanatana Goswami, gave the following guidelines. 1. Accept what is favorable for spiritual advancement. Just like these days, people are very health conscious. So what do? They eat food stuff, and it's good for health. Is that right, doctor? Yes. That's what they have on the packages. Everything written. In India also they made it a law that the package must contain full details. So we eat what's good for health, avoid what's bad. So similarly, our focus should be to accept what is favorable and what is unfavorable. So what is favorable? What is favorable for devotional service? Chanting the holy name. That's our most important activity. Whether you are brahmachari, or Gyasa, or Vanaprastha, or sannyasi. Our most important activity is chanting the holy name. What else? Studying the scriptures. Prabhupada translated all these texts. And the Vedic texts, what do they represent? Philosophy by which we can endeavor to go back to Godhead. This philosophy is flawless. Flawless means no mistake. Any type of knowledge, even if it emanates from a Nobel laureate, is subject to 4 defects. What are they? We have a tendency to cheat. Our senses are imperfect. Tendency. We make mistake. We get illusion. It's a false to be real, you have to be false. Soul is there, Atma is there, everyone. That is real. But we say, no, it's not real. Of course, you all come from an Indian background, maybe from a young age. You are taught about the importance of Atma. In many parts of the world, people don't have this knowledge. So, studying the books, just like Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd chapter tells you what is your real identity. Through a series of verses, Krishna explains the importance of the soul. Okay, studying the book. What else is important? Sadhu Sangha. That is most important because Sadhu Sangha keeps us on the right track. We should make it a point that we regularly associate with those who are fixed on the spiritual path. Prabhupada opened the first ISKCON temple in 1966. At that time there were no congregational devotees. There were just some full-time devotees, American devotees. And Prabhupada started this Sunday program. Prabhupada knew a day would come when the majority of ISKCON devotees will be living at home. Today, over 98% of ISKCON devotees live at home like you are. And they are practicing Krishna consciousness. So, come to the temple on Sunday. Now we have so many choices. For which we had no choice. Avenue Road. Now we have one in Brampton. And I believe a new one is opening. I'll open in Milton. And even though there's a one in Scarborough. So there's so many centers. Take advantage of Sadhu Sangha. Then, another important element is, you are in the mood of humility. This is most important. On the spiritual path, we should endeavor to develop a mood of humility. In ritual society, we all are attached to pride. But on the spiritual path, the mood is to serve all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas. We should cultivate the mood of humility. As we were explaining the other day, humility means I need direction, I need correction, I need guidance. And that mood helps us. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, accept what is favorable. Then what did he say? Reject what is unfavorable. So what would you describe as some of the unfavorable items? We'll make our class interactive. Anything from the lady side? No, okay. Minimal, no association. Not chanting nouns properly. Chanting not properly. I'm chanting about bullet problems. In China they have a bullet train. I took that from Shanghai to Beijing. 3 hours, very far. Once a father told his son, you must chant 16 rounds every day. The son said, okay. And the next father said, did you chant a round today? He said, yes. How did you chant so fast? He said, in the first beat, and chant the whole mantra. And the other piece that said, so, that's one approach. It is important that we chant and hear. We're not chanting our rounds properly. Being inattentive while chanting. Not reading the scriptures. Engaging in prajalpa. What is prajalpa? Mundane talk. Not related to Krishna. Talking about worldly issues. Then what else? Over-endeavoring. We work so hard that we have no time for chanting, no time for reading, no time for devotees. These are individual factors. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, make your desires consistent with the desires of the Lord. Normally we would like to be, my desire should be God's desire, isn't it? But our philosophy should be God's desire is my desire. If that is our benchmark, then you'll progress spiritually. So we are so fortunate. We have all these wonderful Vedic texts to guide us. Then what else? Being proud, pride, arrogant. Pride is dangerous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, except what is favorable, reject what is unfavorable. We should stay in devotee association. And at least once a week, we should try to get this association. And if we endeavor, then there will be success. God helps those who help themselves. Prabhupada used to say, if you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take what? 10 steps towards you. You make a little effort, Krishna will make an effort to guide you spiritually. So all of you are very fortunate in that you've come to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada wanted everyone to take to Krishna consciousness because this is the true path of happiness. In the Bhagavatam, 7th canto, a sage, Prahlad Maharaj, was touring the whole world with his ministers. Prahlad Maharaj's goal was to meet saintly people and understand what they want, what are they instructing. So Prahlad Maharaj met a saintly person. He was living like a python on the ground. So Prahlad Maharaj asked him many questions. So he said, we should endeavor to find spiritual happiness because spiritual happiness is real happiness. And how do you find spiritual happiness? By engaging in spiritual activities. So on the spiritual path, we need determination. And how does determination come? Rupa Goswami explained, Adho Shraddha Tata Sadhu. In the initial stage, we must have faith that I want to progress spiritually. And if you have that desire, Krishna will guide you with spiritual association. And this association is in two ways. One is the book Bhagavad, and the other is the Holy Book. These books of Prabhupada have made unlimited number of devotees all over the world. And these books help us to maintain a spiritual life. If we want to be well equipped to fight Maya, we not only have to chant, but we also read these books. That is very important. And since all of you are educated, you can easily do this. So reading impresses Krishna. Krishna, when he sees that we're reading his books, he's very pleased. He says, here is someone trying to understand me. So we have the desire that Krishna will guide you to an appropriate personality. I recently met in Edmonton a devotee, Canadian, and I asked him, how did he become a devotee? He said, a friend of his accidentally got a Bhagavad Gita. He was not interested, and he gave it to him. And he told him where to get it from. His father had promised him a birthday present. So he told his father, "When you give me a birthday present, please order this Bhagavad Gita for me." So they ordered a Bhagavad Gita from BBT. They got the Bhagavad Gita. He started reading it. He liked it so much. He didn't know what any ISKCON center in Edmonton. He got the Bhagavad Gita. He started reading it, and he got so impressed. He read it again. Then he met devotees, started going to the temple. And we chant 16 rounds. And how was he introduced? To the Bhagavad Gita. So there are umpteen examples all over the world. So we should read and practice Krishna consciousness, which includes chanting and reading. And then there will be, and this process is called Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya means regular execution of devotional activity. Now, if we do this regular execution, then there's another development that takes place. What is that? What's the next stage? Anartha nivritti. We are all under the influence of lust, anger, greed, envy, hatred, kam, krodha, lobha, illusion. And Krishna says, lust, anger and greed are three highways that take you where? Take you where to? Brampton. They take you where to hell. So one must learn to control them. So through the process of Bhajana Kriya, these anarthas begin to get control in which they melt. So we have the process through which we can fight Maya. We need determination to fight it. And that comes from Shravana Kirtana. So the foundation of our spiritual life is Shravana Kirtana. Now many times we meet Indians who will criticize us. Oh, you people are too narrow-minded. You worship Krishna. Why we worship? We are liberal. We worship everyone. We are not liberal. We do what Krishna says. That's why Prabhupada's presentation of Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why is it as it is? Because he presented it exactly where Krishna spoke and Arjuna accepted. In the second chapter, Arjuna said, now I'm confused about my duty, please instruct me. I will soul surrender to you. Krishna began to give the philosophy. And in the 18th chapter, Krishna said, is your illusion now gone? Have you heard this with an attentive mind? And Arjuna said, yes. And then Krishna said, now do as you like. So, Krishna, through the Guru, through the Sadhu, through the Shastra, is telling us what to do, what not to do. Just like when you buy some expensive product, you get a manual with that. It tells you how to use it. The Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic texts are our manuals. They tell us what to do, what not to do. So we should read these books and preach and thereby save humanity. So this Krishna conscious movement has a great responsibility. to save humanity. There are so many religious organizations. There was one Dattatreya worship was here in this location. I'm sure in Brampton there is between, I know him when I first started, when I was in Toronto in '67. That time I was studying in Toronto University. There was no temple, no gurdwara, nothing. The only thing that was there at that time in '67 was there was one gurdwara in a hall of a school that they would rent every Sunday. And that was called Eglinton Gurdwara. I don't know this. So that was the only thing that you had close to a temple in '67. And today there are probably hundreds, somebody in temples in Gurdwara. So, but if we analyze, very few will be giving the real philosophy. So Prabhupada gave the real philosophy. People told them, don't speak like this, nobody will follow. We gave the real truth. So our business is to practice and then preach and keep Krishna in the center. Reject what is unfavorable and be determined to make spiritual progress. Hare Krishna. I want you to take some questions. Any questions? Then I want to go to part 2 of our... How many of you were not in the temple on Sunday? Only 2. How many of you were not in the Avenue Road temple on Sunday? I'm asking them. Is my English clear? How many of you were not present at 243 Avenue Road on Sunday evening lecture? Okay, no more hands out. Okay, about 15. The rest of you were there. Now, I'm mentioning this because to some of you, what I'm going to say may seem to be a little repetitive. So, bear with it. Spiritual philosophy has to be heard again and again. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 13th chapter, 13th verse, Krishna spoke as follows. As on the full moon day, on the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, humility in the supreme transcendental what? Oh, some of you have memorized it. Okay, you can repeat after me. As on the full moon day, on the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift. Humility in the supreme transcendental destination. And purport. One should place Srimad Bhagavatam on the golden throne, where it is the king of all literature. So what this verse is saying is, if the month of Bhadra is from August to September, if on the full moon day in the month of Bhadra, if you take a Srimad Bhagavatam and place it on the golden throne and give it to yourself or to a friend or neighbor or to your enemy, you will attain the supreme destination. In other words, this is a very auspicious day for presenting the Bhagavatam. And this full moon day on Bhadra month will come on September 24, 2018. So we were encouraging yesterday devotees to subscribe to this shed. Vyasadeva said, Narada Muni said, Vyasadeva compiled all the vast Vedic literature. But it was still saying there was some vacuum. So Narada Muni said, because you have not presented the path of pure devotional service. And then he gave us the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the Vedic knowledge coming down through what? Parampara. If somebody throws a fruit from the top of the tree and reaches the ground, it will be broken. If we pass it through individual branches, it will come intact. So we're encouraging all the devotees to book a set for this auspicious occasion. You can give the gift to yourself or to a friend. And as we said yesterday, the donations are all tax exempt. And anyone who does it is going to get unlimited mercy on the spiritual path. Yesterday nearly 44 people signed up for this book. Yesterday, no? Yes. So some of you, I know many of you did raise your hands yesterday. So I don't expect you all to repeat it, okay? Of course. But if any of you who did not raise their hand, is anyone here who was down there yesterday who would like to sponsor? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, any questions? I didn't want to give a long class. Any questions? Yes. Over-endeavoring.
Overeating.
So, prasad, in the early days of our movement, Prabhupada used to personally cook the prasad. He would personally make rasgullas. Once Prabhupada made something like a laddu from milk and sweets. So Prabhupada's disciple Yamuna Mataji, who passed away recently, he said, Prabhupada, what do you call this? Prabhupada saw this and said, simply wonderful. So many of our temples make this and offer it as deities in the morning. So Prabhupada would personally cook the Sunday feast. And so many people came to eat the Sunday feast. And they became devotees. They were skinny, but in a short time they became overhealthy. So, when it comes to prasad, you can overeat or undereat. Once somebody asked Prabhupada, there's some devotees who steal other people's prasad. And there's some devotees who are so magnanimous they give the prasad. So what is right, stealing or giving? Prabhupada said both are correct. One who steals is stealing, very, very attached to prasad. So, you have the Ayurvedic formula. 50% of your hunger you fill with prasad, 25% with water, and 25% with air. The Prabhupada said, if you follow this formula, there's a good chance you'll remain healthy. So what's your question?
I was saying, Atyahar is one of the things which is not favorable to your devotional service.
Both ways. Some people stay all in Krishna consciousness, many need prasad. If we stop the prasad on a Sunday feast, the attendance will go down. Am I right? Many times there's a joke, people say, on Sundays we close our kitchen. Where do you eat lunch then? Oh, we go to the Hare Krishna temple. You know, Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, he was an immigrant from Syria. And he came from a very poor family. So he was studying at Berkeley University. He didn't have any money. He used to go walking to our Berkeley temple to eat prasad every day. He said that himself in a lecture in Stanford. But then when he became famous, he forgot. He forgot the Hare Krishna. But at least he named his company Apple. Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful class. My question is, you talked about developing humility. So, does this also apply in the material world as well, and what's the...
Good question. In the material world, you people are all doing jobs and businesses. Once, one of Prabhupada's female disciples in Chicago asked Prabhupada a question. The girl said, Prabhupada, how can I be humble and distribute books? Because to distribute books, you have to be a little aggressive. You will just stand. Have you ever seen the Jehovah's Witness watchtower representative? No. They just stand on the street with a book in their hand. They won't approach anyone. So the girl asked, how can I be humble and distribute books at the same time? The Prabhupada said, be a lamb at home and a lion outside. So when you go to preach, be like a lion. You're dealing with devotees in the temple, be like a lamb. But don't be a lion at home and a lamb outside. Which one? Devotees a lion at home and a lamb outside. So when you're outside in the material world, you naturally have to be a little alert. You don't have to. This humility is humility in dealing with Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Humility in dealing with devotees. In the material world, you can be a little aggressive. If you're not aggressive, everyone's going to walk over you. Just like if somebody comes and criticizes your philosophy, you just stand up and speak up. Not that you say, I'll be humble. I'll just tolerate what he's saying. So in the original world you can be a lion. When you come to the temple, you can be a lamb.
But sometimes, Maharaj, even in the spiritual, in the devotees as well, sometimes even the it feels like, it feels like that sometimes even in the devotees, when you become too humble, everybody tries to take advantage of you.
In spiritual life, you can never be exploited. Even if you do a lot of service, it's for Krishna. Suppose someone saying, Prabhu, this way, Krishna's temple is cleaning. Someone says, cook for me, you're cooking okay. As long as that activity is done for Krishna, there is no such thing as exploitation in the spiritual life. That is a false illusion that we have. Oh, temple authorities are really over-exploiting me. Because as much as you do for Krishna is less than what you should be doing. So, there's no such thing as I've done too much. Prabhupada did so much for Krishna. But in his last days, when we would tell him that, he said, I did nothing. I only followed my Guru's order. So, that should be our mentality. Okay, any more questions? Yes? Yes? You should ask questions.
How can we develop compassion for non-devotees?
Compassion towards the conditioned souls, or to just like we preach. How to develop compassion?
Because we could preach, but compassion may not be there.
Any compassion is not there. Just like our Acharya said, the dearest devotee is one who preaches my glory. So you may say, but I have no compassion. I'm not like Prahlad Maharaj, I'm not like Vasudeva Datta, I'm not like Vasudeva Vipra. Doesn't matter if we know you or not. Follow in footsteps and follow the instructions. And by doing that activity, compassion will develop. Just like we take a medicine. You don't know how the medicine works inside the body, I don't know. But I know if I take the medicine, I'll get this benefit. So you take it, isn't it? You don't know how the medicine works in the body, but you still take it. So similarly, we should preach, because Krishna and Acharyas have said that. And as we preach, we will develop the mood of right compassion. Yeah. You don't understand? You understand? Okay, yes.
Please help us understand what is Prema Bhakti and how each one of us can attain it.
Love of God should be the real goal of everyone. But it takes time to get there. To get to the top of the building takes time. So that's the ultimate goal, to develop Krishna Prema. Right now we have Prema for cricket matches, movie stars, soccer matches. We will transfer that Prema to Krishna. So we will follow the process of sadhana bhakti and bhajana kriya. Then that will develop. If you follow the process of chanting and hearing, the process will definitely benefit. But it will take time. Don't think I give ISKCON today, tomorrow I will get shivering in the body. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask how to develop steady determination. Like there are some days you are determined so much, and other days you are dragging yourself.
Yes, some days you are enthusiastic to serve Krishna, and some days you are enthusiastic to serve Maya. on some days Krishna looks beautiful, Maya looks ugly. And some other days, Maya becomes beautiful and Krishna becomes ugly. So, this is discussed in the fourth canto by Narada Muni. Narada Muni said, he told the particular, that if you're not steady in sadhana bhakti, then this fluctuation will take place. And he gave an example. Sometimes you're recovering from a disease, you stop taking the medicine and you get a relapse. So you have to take the medicine regularly, every day, without fail. Then you'll always be enthusiastic. Chant around, read, serve,